Hello everybody, myself Prashant Mukhopadhyay, faculty member Electrical Engineering Department, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management. Today in this power electronics and drive class, so far we have discussed single phase converters, that is single phase half controlled full wave, single phase full controlled full waves with different types of loads, resistive load, resistive inductive load, and general load, that is resistive inductive load, then with external say EMF source. So that is RL E load basically, and we have worked out some numericals also of this particular topic. So now we'll discuss our discussions on three-phase control rectifiers, that is three-phase converters. Though in your syllabus it is mentioned three-phase full control rectifiers. So before going to the three-phase full control rectifiers, we'll start with say three-phase control rectifiers, and then half control, full control, and with different loads. So then we'll say go to the three-phase full control full wave rectifiers. Okay. Actually, there are different types of three-phase control rectifiers. Particularly, three-phase control rectifiers maybe of half-wave control rectifiers and full-wave bridge rectifiers. So again, half-wave control rectifiers are further subdivided into three-phase full-wave control rectifier, that is commonly known as three-pulse converters. And also another subdivision is six-phase half-wave controlled rectifiers, that is known as six-pulse converters. And whereas full wave bridge rectifiers may be also half control and full control. So again, full control are again divided into three-phase fully controlled bridge rectifier, that is commonly known as six-pulse converters. And another one is six-phase full wave controlled bridge rectifier, that is known as 12 pulse converter. So basically, so what we are finding, that is this three-phase control rectifiers then are of particularly of two types, that is half-wave control rectifiers and full-wave bridge rectifiers. Half-wave again subdivided into three-pulse converter and six-pulse converter, that is three-pulse means three-phase half-wave control rectifiers, and six-pulse means six-phase half-wave control rectifiers. And full-wave bridge rectifiers again subdivided into half control and full control. And full controls again subdivided into 6 pulse and 12 pulse, that is 6 pulse means 3-phase fully controlled bridge converter, and 12 pulse means 6-phase full wave controlled bridge converter. So actually this is the classifications or divisions of 3-phase control rectifiers. So before going into this detailed discussions, we must have a quick introductions of these 3-phase control rectifiers. Basically, single-phase half-control bridge converters and full-control bridge converters are used extensively in industrial applications up to about 15 kilowatt or of in output power. And single-phase control rectifiers provide a maximum DC output of actually VDC maximum equal to 2 Vm by pi. So the output ripple frequency is equal to the twice of the AC supply frequency, and the single phase full wave control rectifiers provide 2 output pulses during every input supply cycle, and hence are referred to as 2 pulse converters. But in case of 3-phase converters, 3-phase control rectifiers, which are used to convert AC input power supply into DC output power across the load. So particularly the main features of 3-phase control rectifiers are operate from 3-phase AC supply voltage, and they provide higher DC output voltage and higher DC output power, and higher output voltage ripple frequency filtering requirements are simplified for smoothing out load voltage and load current. So, and this three-phase control rectifiers are extensively used in high-power variable speed industrial DC drives. So, actually, with these introductions and classifications of three-phase controllers, will say gradually proceed or continue our discussions one after another about the different three-phase converter. So let us first say discuss three-phase half-wave converters. So actually, three single-phase half-wave converters are connected together to form a three-phase half-wave converter. Particularly, this is the circuit shown here. So the three single-phase half-wave converters are connected together to form these three-phase converters, and this is the circuit diagram. See, so basically, and this is the quadrant operations of the three-phase half-wave converter. So let us see these three thyristors. This is the waveform operation cycle of the three thyristor. Thyristor 1, 2, 3, then 3, 1, 2 in this pattern. So see, three-phase actually this is actually this can be explained after say knowing the three-phase supply voltage equations. Basically, we define the three-phase line. Three line neutral voltages, that is typically like this. So this is the vector diagram of three-phase supply voltage. So this is neutral. So if A, this is B, and this is C. So this is say voltage of the A phase with a neutral, and this is VBN for B phase, and this is C phase. And each phase has say with a phase difference of 120 degree. So we can say, if we are A, B, C are in sequence with R, Y, B, so we can say VRN must be equal to VAN, that is equal to Vm sine omega t, and where Vm is the maximum phase voltage, and Vyn is the VBN, where it is 120 degree apart. So we can write this Vm sine omega t minus 2 pi by 3, and so it can write that is equal to Vm sine omega t minus 120 degree, and this one, this VCN, particularly this is VBN actually, so will be equal to Vm sine omega t plus 2 pi by 3, that means Vm sine omega t plus 120 degree. That means with reference to this A, so it will be in this directions it will be omega t minus 240 degree. Okay, so this is you all know this is the three-phase supply voltage equations, and the three-phase half-wave converters combines three single-phase half-wave control rectifier in one single circuit feeding a common load that is shown here. So in this diagram, see, this is the common load. This is fed by this phase A, thyristor 1. This is for phase B, thyristor 2, and this is C for thyristor 3. So if we go on discussing this in this pattern, so three-phase half-wave converters, it is combines of three single-phase half-wave control rectifiers in a single circuit feeding a common load. That is thyristor T1 in series with one of the supply phase winding N acts as one half-wave control rectifier. So the second thyristor T2 in series with the supply phase winding Bn acts as a second wave control rectifiers, and the third thyristor T3 in series with the supply phase winding CN acts as a third half wave control rectifier. So that is shown here. See, actually this is the case. This is AN. So this way. Okay, this is for BN, and this is for say C. So that is actually for A, this is thyristor 1, for B, and so basically this is thyristor 2, and for the CN, this C phase, so it is basically like this, thyristor 3. Okay, and all are feeding the common load. Okay, so actually so these are the half wave control rectifiers, particularly and this three-phase input supply is applied to the star connected supply transformer that is also shown here. This is the star connected supply transformer, this one. Okay, so actually common neutral point of the supply is connected to one end of the load, and while the other end of the load connected to the common cathode point. Okay, so when thyristor that is shown, so any of this is N, and this is so this is one end of the load connected to this neutral, and other end is connected to the this is cathode point of this thyristor for each and every thyristor. So for T1, T2, T3, this is the same connection diagram. See, this is load. One end is connected is the cathode terminals for each thyristor. So whether it is T1, whether it is T2 or T3, and other end is connected to the say neutral of the say three-phase supply. Okay. So now actually so when the thyristor T1 is triggered, so particularly at omega t equal to pi by 6 plus alpha, that is pi by 6 means 30 degree plus alpha. Alpha is the trigger angle. So the phase voltage Vn appears across the thyristor T1 conducts, and the load current flows through the supply phase winding An and through the thyristor T1 as long as T1 conducts. So this is shown here. See, so this is actually pi by 6 plus alpha. Okay, so this is thyristor is conducted here. So T1 is in conduction, and as a result, so this output voltage will be like this. So it will be like this. Okay, so this is the output voltage form. Okay, so and this is the say load current. Okay, and this is the current through thyristor 1. So during this is the conduction period of the thyristor 1. Okay, so actually this is for this is waveform is drawn for inductive load. Clear? So now so what we can say that is so as thyristor 1 is triggered at pi by omega t equals pi by 6 plus alpha, so the phase voltage An appears across the load when this thyristor 1 conducts, and that the load current flows through the supply phase winding An and through thyristor T1 as long as thyristor 1, that is T1, conducts. Now when thyristor T2 is triggered, so that is around so it will be how much? Plus 120 degree. That means it is 150 plus alpha. So when omega t equal to 150 plus alpha, so T1 becomes reverse biased and turns off, and the load current flows through thyristor 2 and through the supply phase winding Bn. And when T2 conducts, the phase voltage Bn appears across the load until thyristor T3 is triggered. Okay, so that is actually explained in this diagram. Okay, this is the conduction period of the thyristor 2, and it is conducted until and unless the thyristor 3 is in conduction. So when thyristor 3 will be in conduction, this thyristor 2 will be in reverse bias mode, and as a result thyristor 3 will be forward biased and it will conduct in case of inductive load, and the waveform will be like this. So actually this is actually for thyristor 2, and again for thyristor 3 it will be 150 plus 120, that is 270 plus alpha. Then thyristor 2 will be reverse biased, and hence thyristor 2 turns up, and fed voltage BCN appears across the load when thyristor 3 conducts. So when T1 is triggered again at the beginning of the next input cycle, the thyristor T3 turns up as it is reverse biased or naturally as soon as thyristor 1 is triggered, and the figure shows the three-phase input supply voltage, the output voltage which appears across the load current assuming a constant, and ripple free load current for a highly inductive load, and the current through the thyristor T1. Okay, so that's all actually. So actually when thyristor 1 is triggered again and beginning of the next input cycle, thyristor T3 turn off as it reverse biased naturally as soon as T1 is triggered, and that is shown in the figure. That is a three-phase input supply voltage, the output voltage which appears across the load, and the load current assuming the constant, and ripple free load current for a highly inductive load, and the current through the thyristor T1. So that is shown here. Actually this is the waveform. Basically these are the three-phase supply system. So this is the A phase, that is VAN equal to Vm sin omega t, that is B phase, which is 120 degree lagging behind this A phase. If we take the A phase as a reference, so this is B phase, and with respect to A phase, the C phase is 240 degree say lagging. That means it is 120 degree of leading. So that is C phase. Okay, so that's all, and these are the different say consequent sequential turn off and turn on and turn off methods of the different thyristors. So on for the A phase, thyristor 2 for B phase, and thyristor 3 for C phase. Thyristor 1 is conducting from say pi by 6 plus pi by 6 plus alpha to this, actually up to this. So this will be the output current. This is output voltage, and this is load current. So for the A phase, and this is the conduction period. This is from pi by 6 plus alpha to pi by 6 plus alpha. That means alpha plus 30 degree to 150 degree plus alpha. That is the conduction period of the thyristor 1. So similar thing will happen for thyristor 1, thyristor 2 and 3 itself. So for this highly inductive load, so this is shown for the say A phase only, where the thyristor 1 is triggered. So if we put all these 3 in a same diagram, it will be say complicated. So that's why single only A phase and its corresponding thyristor 1 conduction and its output voltage and load current and conduction of thyristor 1 is shown in this figure. So that is also told, that is being told here. That is actually for a purely if we take a purely resistive load where the load inductance is L equal to 0 and the trigger angle alpha is greater than 30 degree, that is pi by 6 radian. The load current appears as discontinuous load current, and each thyristor is naturally commutated when the polarity of the corresponding phase supply voltage reverses. So the frequency of the output ripple frequency for a three-phase half-wave converters is 3 into Fs, where Fs is the input supply frequency, and the three-phase half-wave converter is not normally used in practical converter systems because of, say, actually. Because of the disadvantage that the supply current waveforms contains DC components, that is, supply current waveforms have an average or a DC value. So actually, if we derive and the expression for the average output voltage of a three-phase half-wave converter for continuous load current, so it will be like this. The reference phase voltage is VRN, that is neutral. This is the phase voltage, like neutral voltage, that is R phase, that is equal to here. It is A phase, Vn, that will be Vm sin omega t. That is shown in the diagram as is shown here. So the trigger angle, particularly the alpha, is measured from the crossover points of the three-phase supply voltage waveforms. So see, go back to this diagram, so it will be clear. So this is the crossover point, and actually this is pi by 6, or 30 degree, pi by 6 degree, and this is the firing angle, alpha. So transistor 1 is fired at pi by 6 plus alpha, that is 30 degree plus alpha, and it is conduct up to say 5 by 6 5 by 6 pi plus alpha, that is 150 degree plus alpha. Okay, so if we say wish to calculate the output voltage for a three-phase half-wave converters for continuous loads. So in that case, we have to take this crossover point. Alpha is measured from this crossover point of the three-phase supply voltage waveform. And when the phase supply voltage N begins at its positive half cycle, omega t equal to 0. So the first crossover point appears at omega t equal to pi by 6, that I told you, pi by 6 radians, that is 30 degree, 30 degree. And the trigger angle is alpha. So T1 measured from crossover point at omega t equal to 30 degree, and the transistor T1 is forward biased during the period omega t equal to 30 degree to omega t equal to 150 degree, and when the phase voltage, phase supply voltage Vn has a higher amplitude than the other phase supply voltage, and hence T1 can be triggered between 30 degree to 150 degree, which is in this say value of omega t. So it will be in the forward biased conditions. So when the transistor T1 is triggered at a angle alpha, the average DC output voltage for continuous load is calculated using the equation, that is 3 by 2 pi integration over pi by 6 plus alpha to pi by 5 pi by 6 plus alpha in V0 d omega t. V0 is the output voltage, and that will be equal to Vn. It is equal to Vm sin omega t for omega t equal to 30 degree plus alpha to 150 degree plus alpha. So if you put this value here, so VDC will be equal to 3 by 2 pi. So integration over 5 by 6 plus alpha to pi by 6 plus alpha to 5 by 6 pi plus alpha. Put the value of say this Vm sin omega t and d omega t. So as the output load voltage waveforms has the 3 output pulses during the input cycles of 2 pi radians, that is shown here. See, during this 2 pi radians, it has 3 output pulses. See, this is for A phase, this is for B phase, and this is for C phase. So there are 3 output pulses. Okay, so that's it's a 3-pulse converters actually. So we can write like this. Basically, VDC will be 3 VM. So take out the VM outside this integration sign. So it's 3 VM by pi 2 pi. So integration over from pi by 6 plus alpha to 5 pi by 6 plus alpha sine omega t d omega t. So if you calculate, so it is the integration is minus cos omega t, and the limit is from pi by 6 plus alpha to 5 pi by 6 plus alpha. So if you calculate it, it will be, if you put the say this is the upper limit minus the lower limit minus minus plus, so it will be like this. So if we apply the trigonometric relationships, the cos of sham equal to cos A cos B minus sin B. So put here this value, so for this and for this, so it will be like this. And then simplify this, 5 by 6 pi means 150 degree, and this is put this value, so 150 means 180 degree minus 30 degree, so it is basically minus cos 30, and sine 180 degree minus 30 means so sine 30 degree. So this is in the second quadrant. Say actually sine is positive and cos is negative in the second quadrant. So therefore we can write this value. So this will be, after calculation, it will become to like this. So 3 root 3 Vm 2 pi cos alpha. Okay. So actually BDC will be this is actually 3 line maximum line supply, line to line supply voltage for the typical star connected system, so VLM. So we can write this. So this is equal to VLM. So it is 3 VLM with 2 pi cos alpha. So particularly, as I told you, this VLM is a root 3 VM. Actually, so it is. So actually, the maximum average. This is actually the maximum line-to-line supply voltage for a three-phase star-connected transformer. The maximum average or DC output voltage is obtained at a delay angle alpha equal to 0, and that is given equal to maximum DC equal to VDM, actually 3 root 3 Vm by 2 pi. So here Vm is the peak phase voltage, and the normalized average output voltage is VDC normalized, VDCN equal to Vn equal to VDC by VDM equal to cos alpha. So that's all about this calculations of the output voltage for this say three-phase half-wave converters for a continuous load. Okay, so with this, if we can continue for next this voltage, actually we can derive an expression for the RMS value of the output voltage and of three-phase half-wave converter for continuous load current. So this is RMS value of the output voltage, and is found by using these equations. B O RMS equal to 3 by 2 pi integration over pi by 6 plus alpha to pi by 6 plus alpha. So it's Vm square sin square omega t d omega t, and we obtained this will be equal to root 3 Vm into square root of 1 by 6 plus root 3 by 8 by cos 2 alpha. So actually, this is the value of the say RMS value. So we can also find out the output voltage for the different trigger angles with RL load. So we have so far discussed the trigger angle alpha, that is if we can vary alpha, so from alpha for 60 degree, 90 degree, etc. Actually, this is for, say, these are the different angles for RL load. Okay, so this is shown here actually. So this is for 60 degree, alpha for 30 degree actually if we say. So this is 30 degree. For this, okay, VN in A phase. This is for another alpha. This is another, and this is for possible for 30 to 60 degree, 30 degree. Then again another, it is the alpha is like this. So in this way we can find different levels. Still for alpha, so different waveforms for alpha. So this is for alpha actually 30, then alpha 60, and then alpha 90 degree. Okay, and three-phase half-wave control rectifier output voltage waveform for different trigger angles with RL load will be like this. This is for alpha is 0 degree. This is for 15 degree. Okay, this is for 30 degree, and this is for 60 degree. Okay, so these are actually the different say trigger angle for say resistive load